Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Young Wildlife Photographers Photo Chat. Your host, Martin and Alex. I apologize about the overexposed space. It's just I can't film this one in my room. I got to film it in the study room with a big window, and the light's really harsh right now. So that's where I'm at right now. But today we've got John Gidney and Elliott and we'll let them introduce themselves in a second, but we're just gonna be doing a normal style episode, going over some images. Me and Alex have two at the end, and we're gonna alternate between these guys. So John, do you wanna start off with just talking a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is John Gidney. I'm from Warwick, New York, 19 years old, and just got into birds from a young age. My dad had all sorts of poultry, so kind of started from there and just one influence from another, and eventually picked up a camera, and now I'm here.
Awesome. Oh, that's nice. Elliott?
I'm Elliott. I'm from Southwestern Oregon. I'm 17 years old, and I've been really passionate about bird photography for about a little over a year and a half. So, yeah.
Sick. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's such a fun hobby. I've been doing it for like 6 years, but I only started getting good since like November. So that's nice. Alex, you want to say anything before we start getting into pictures and stuff?
Well, it's snowing pretty hard over here now. It's sicking too, and it's feeling like winter now.
Yeah, we just had snow the other day. So yeah, I think that's all good. I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna be alternating between their two shots. They're just gonna tell the story about how they got them and stuff. And then, as I said earlier, me and Alex are just gonna throw in our two images at the end. So yeah, starting off with John.
So this one was a pretty fun shot. Had been scouting out this creek for a while, and I knew the wood ducks were in there. And I mean, as you guys, I'm sure you know, waterfowl are just a pain in the rear end to photograph. So skittish. So not having a car or anything, I was getting here just by bicycle or walking. And because of that, had a kind of pack light. So we know the most efficient way to really get ducks is to set up a blind and full camo and just sit there and wait. So found a nice spot on the creek bank, made my own dent blind, thank you, for just to really camouflage myself in there. And I think it was Ray Hennessy had mentioned something about using decoys, and that kind of sparked the idea, because I could get decent pictures of them, but it was harder to get them to actually hang around and just do their thing. So got the little decoys out and just kind of sat there and waited a little bit for this one. And sure enough, there was a whole flock of them, and this was cool with the lighting too. It was like a real heavy overcast day, but there was like all these heavy dead trees over the creek. So there was only like one real source of light coming through. So it created a nice dark background on the bird and kind of gave that little spotlight effect on them, which was nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. So did you so there's a lot of wood ducks hanging out, so it was kind of like luck of the draw to get them in this light, or was it one and you kind of position your decoys?
It was a combination of how I kind of put the decoy spread out, just kind of, I mean, it's all trial and error, figuring out where to place the decoys so the birds go in the right direction, or you can use the decoys to kind of funnel them into different areas. In this area, it was just like packed with wood ducks. I think in one day I saw like 46 of them or something like that. So
yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, and I mean, there was always variations within that. I mean, that was like the peak of the most birds I saw, and then other days you would just see one or two. But they also were in this creek year round, because I saw multiple hens with little ducklings all going up and down the creek too. So for him, it was just a lot of trial and error. I think I spent a couple months actually just working this area and playing with different light and compositions, and just a trial and error on how to get closer to them without spooking them, and then them still acting natural.
What time of year was this taken? Because I know it's kind of hard for me to get. I always get close to them and get good photos, and then they're never in breeding plumage.
I will double check. I believe this was in early spring, actually. So maybe like March or something like that.
That makes sense. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Waterfowl are so awesome. I've been working on coots, which aren't technically waterfowl, but you get the point. This next one's Elliott. This is such an awesome gray shot. It's a really good bird. Elliott, you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so this is probably like the shot that I've put the most like time into. I mean, not directly this photo, but the species I've spent, since like midsummer, I've been going up and looking for them out in these meadows.
Mhm.
And yeah, just a week or so ago, I finally found them. And yeah, it was really amazing. It was really just amazing to photograph now. I've never photographed an owl roosting during the day, so that was just amazing.
Yeah.
Then of course, great gray owls are just huge birds.
Yeah.
And
I mean, oops, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
no, go ahead.
I was saying, I mean, it's a great first owl to photograph. Literal great gray. I mean, that's crazy for a first.
Yeah. Well, I've seen other owls. It's just always during the night, like
Yeah.
past like at dusk. So it's like you can't really get any great shots at that time.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah,
I got you.
for this one, I think the owl didn't move much, so it was really about trying to figure out like a nice foreground, because there were these super ugly white highlights since it was overcast. Trying to like cover those up and just kind of cloak the owl in and like just integrate all the foliage and stuff.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
did a really nice job on that. It like really brings your eye right to the owl's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just such an awesome shot. Great grades. I mean, once again, great grades, a first owl. I mean, a great first owl to really work with. I mean, they're super chill. They sit in one spot. I had a great horn today that I thought was a great gray for a second, but it was just a gray horn, but still awesome. But yeah, I mean, that's just such an awesome bird and a really good image of it and a really skilled use of foreground. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm just going to zoom in on it too so you can see the detail, like all the hairs on its face and everything. That's sick. I love owls, if you guys haven't noticed. So yeah, but that's awesome, dude. That's such a good shot. Ooh, this is unique. I like this one.
Yeah, so that was a fun project, family vacation, and I went in with the mindset because it's like every year you go and it's, I mean, no hate on shorebirds, but it's like how many pictures can I really take of the same shorebird, the same foreground, backlit, frontlit, all that. So I figured, this year I was going in with the mindset I wanted to work with more common species that I would have easy access to, but try and make something at least more creative and beautiful with them. So we were there for 2 weeks, and every day I mean, how often do you walk up to a flock of gulls? And most of the time they sit there, but every time I was trying to work them, something just was never lining up. So it was the last morning we were leaving that day, and there was a big fiddler crab colony I was also working with. And I was walking down that boardwalk, and I just happened to see the gull, and I'm thinking nothing of it, like, well, probably just going to fly away as soon as I walk by. And sure enough, that bird, for whatever reason, even other people kept walking up and down that walkway, and the bird would flush, but it would go right back to the same perch facing the same way. I was like, okay, maybe I can work this. And this was probably a good 20 minutes before sunrise. So got my Tamron 16 300 millimeter on, just slowly kept walking closer and closer. And I think I was only maybe 4 feet from the bird, something like that.
Wow.
So it ended up actually working really well.
That's awesome. Yeah, that you can see that pink light too from right before sunrise. It's just really nice. It's a wide angle, and wide angles are just always fun. But I think it's a really nice way of bringing it's a good urban, wide angle. Like some people go and just take a pigeon wide angle in the middle of the city, and it's cool. But this one's really nice. You have the beach, you have the dunes, you have the leading lines from the railings and the lighthouse. It's just really fun. I'm just a big fan for sure.
Yeah, is this a herring gull or?
Yeah.
And where'd you take this?
This was at the Barnegat Lighthouse.
Oh yeah, know that place.
Is that
In New
the good
Jersey
place for waterfowl?
Yep.
For winter waterfowl? No kidding. I need to get down there at some point.
Yeah, actually, I'll be meeting up with another young photographer there in December for the Harlequins, hopefully, because I mean, that's always a fun bird to work with. The long-tailed ducks, there were common nighters there actually all summer. So
really?
hopefully they never left, and they'll just be as tame as they were during the summer. I was getting only 2 feet from them, the common nighters. So yeah, typically it's a great place for them. Purple sandpipers, turnstones, and a whole bunch of weird stuff that randomly will pop up.
Man, you don't
Yeah.
even know how much I want to be there right now or in
Plus all
December.
Plus all the scoters and everything too. I mean, man,
Oh, yeah.
winter watching is so fun, and owlsids are just a blast. So this shot's dope. I'm gonna move on to the next one, but I really like the color in that one. It's just awesome. Ooh, this is a really fun bird. Violet green swallow, nice.
Yeah, so this one was from, I think, August this summer, and there's this, actually, this was taken like only a few miles from where I took that great gray owl photo.
Oh, really?
Next to this really, really huge reservoir that's like, I think it's a couple miles long. Anyway, but during like late summer, there was just these insanely huge flocks of swallows passing through during migration, and like just insane numbers of swallows, and they were landing on the ground, landing on these like rocky peninsulas out in the and islands, rocky peninsulas and islands out in the reservoir, and then they were also landing on these plants. And anyway, I was like, every time I'd kind of like try to get close, the whole flock would just fly up and then eventually resettle down. So I went and set up like I was just like kind of low to the ground in my ghillie suit, and just
You have a ghillie suit?
Yeah, which
That's
I didn't
sick.
necessarily need for this, but and then a whole bunch of violet green swallows just settled down like right in front of me, and then I just took a whole bunch of shots, and then I ended up getting the wing stretch, which I really like. That's something I've seen swallows do before, and I've never really been able to capture because it's so quick. So yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome
that's
shot and some
awesome.
great lighting in it.
The background's really cool too. They remind me of tree swallows kind of, but better. I really need to get this species for sure. But yeah, this is a great shot. And then the use of the ghillie suit is awesome. I used half of my ghillie suit for a fox den this past spring. I put the top half, and then I used like the pants of it, and I just put it over the top half of my body and face the den. Turns out I didn't need it. They were completely fine with me. But yeah, that's awesome. And the background is really nice on that shot too. I really like that.
This one was a lot of fun. So I've been working with that particular great horn for I think 4 years now or something like that. And it's been pretty cool to watch over time, like how they just get eventually habituated to you. They realize you're not a threat, and you can work with them in more ways than you could if you just randomly first found it. So for him, I was just going out with the mindset, okay, gonna take more pictures of him. I mean, and there were times I have so many pictures of him I could just sit there and watch him. But no, we had a light dusting of snow on the ground, and the weather said it was supposed to snow, but I was like, blue sky, can't be snowing. And then there was a warning for an ice storm, and I figured, oh please, like there's going to be an ice storm. It's all blue sky, not one cloud. Like how could that happen? So funny enough, this is in the same area as those wood ducks. So I walk all the way into this marsh, and I get probably a good couple miles in, and all of a sudden I see this giant shelf of like almost black clouds. I'm like, oh boy, that's not good. So I ran up to one of the big like oak or maple trees back there, and I was in, I don't know how many layers, it looked like a big puffball. And I just sat there up against the trunk, and it came down so hard. It was like the worst hailstorm, ice, whatever we'll call it. And I just sat there and had the camera gear all tucked in underneath my jacket and everything. And what was funny was it only lasted like maybe 15, 20 minutes. So it all lifted up, and then by that time it was about sunset. So I figured, well, you know what? I'll go see if the owls are out or if there's any ducks in the creek. So walk over, no ducks, no owls. I'm like, well, guess there goes that idea. And as I'm about to turn around and walk out, it was cool because all the ice on everything just sounded like giant wind chimes. So anything that hit them, it was really cool to listen to. But I heard the whole pine tree like shake with all the ice. And I looked back, and sure enough, he hopped right out into the open, sat there like a little model, just gave me a little side look. He was looking at me all over the place, and he probably hung out there for a good couple minutes. So that was definitely cool.
That's
nice backstory too.
Yeah. And the ice all over everything is just really fun. It's really unique. You know, I I've only had like a couple storms around here where it just gets ice on everything, and I've never been able to shoot in it. So it's really cool that you're able to get out, especially with a subject like a great horn, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
the
think for
colors
that,
in it are nice.
yeah, and I think for that it was just all right time at the right place because I mean at that afternoon I was debating like, I don't know, do I want to go out because it was freezing out. I mean, as you can tell. So I was definitely happy I pushed myself to get out there.
Yeah, that's sick. Well, I'm glad you got out because you got an amazing shot out of it. That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, wow. This is cool. I still need to get a breath shot for sure.
Yeah, so this photo is actually pretty, like, it's actually one of my older photos, maybe like, oh, I mean, relatively old, like maybe 9 months ago, back when I was like kind of first, like really learning and stuff. And it was
Yeah,
like,
gotcha.
it was a super cold morning, and I went out to this irrigation pond where there were all these tons of red-winged blackbirds, all perched everywhere. And like, I had no clue like how to even understand what light would do, like backlight and like front light. Like I had just no clue, but like all I knew is that I could see the breath with my eyes from like certain angles and stuff. So I just like lined up, and then I just got this shot. And I remember this is like the most happy I've ever been coming home that morning with this photo of the red-winged blackbird's breath coming out.
Yeah, that's
It's
so sick.
awesome. I've tried to get red-winged blackbird breath and I've never been successful. So was this like during the springtime when they're all singing, or?
Yeah, it was pretty early spring. Yeah.
Yeah, the man, that's just awesome. I know a couple people have gotten it. I haven't gotten any breath in any image from any animal. What I want to do is get a shot that's kind of like Sam Swartley's his backlit deer breath image. I want to get that because I got my cemetery where there's a bunch of deer that I've just been working with, and I really want to try to get that. But this is so cool. Just, I mean, you can see like it's like all the little twists and turns in the breath and everything. I mean, really well done on this. And you said it was an older image too?
Yeah.
That's sick.
There
Yeah.
are very few images from back then that I still like, but this is one of the few that I still am proud of.
Honestly, mood. I've got so many shots from like the years I've been shooting, and they're just all bad. So the fact that you're able to get something, you know, that was really good just when you were starting out is awesome. I love that shot. That's so cool. Oh, this is cool.
So I figured I'd send this one in because I think it's funny. I mean, I know, Martin, we were having a conversation recently about under and overrated species. And I mean, sparrows. I mean, how many people look at sparrows and actually pay attention to them? Personally, I mean, it took a little bit to really appreciate what each little species has to offer and all their little quirks and everything. But I was actually out looking for short-eared owls, and not one was out. So I figured, hey, you know what? Okay, sparrows will do good, I guess. So this one I actually really like. This was just on I think it was a mode pathway or something. And I didn't even realize all the layers that were there, just because I think it was grass and then black dirt, more grass, and then the horizon on the back.
Yeah.
And the adult was just sitting there feeding casually. And I figured, you know, a couple little pretty pictures, nice smooth pastels and whatever. And this juvenile all of a sudden came buzzing out, tried to, I guess, push him off the food and whatever. But as you can tell, the adult was not taking any of that. So, and that was just happening to click the shutter at the right moment because I couldn't recreate that again if I really wanted to.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Awesome. And you know, I'm sorry, earlier you said no one cares about sparrows. Well, I got a short little story, but we were going to this one place near me just to look for some warblers during spring migration. And we see like a whole bunch of people with cameras laying on the ground in like this random parking lot that we were driving past. And we had to get through the parking lot to go where we're going to go. It's kind of complicated how they set that up. But they're like, all right, you guys can go. Like they come up to our car and they say you guys can go because we clearly weren't going. And I'm like, are you guys photographing a bird? And they're like, yeah. And it was a lark sparrow, which is like really rare for my area. Just had a lark sparrow just like sitting on the side of the road. So I get out of my car and I'm photographing it. They're like, you're a birder? So that's a cool little story. I think people do care about sparrows, except for the New Jersey owl guys.
Yeah.
I don't like house sparrows. I love chipping sparrows. I love any other species, but I don't like house sparrows because
And
especially my back.
Oh, good.
What's up? No, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, funny enough, I mean, they're labeled house sparrows. I was doing a little more research on them. Apparently, they're not even considered an actual sparrow. They're in I think it was the weaver finch family or something like that.
Huh. Well,
So
that would make sense because they do look
there's
kind of weird.
yeah, well, there's two different categories of sparrows. There's the New
Yeah,
World sparrows, which of
Yep.
course you have here, the white crowned, basically, I mean, all the ones you see here, and
Yep.
the Old World sparrows, and you'll see they definitely look different.
Yeah. Well, I really like chipping sparrows. I did some work with some chipping sparrows last spring, but these are white crowned. I don't want to, at the risk of embarrassing myself. Are these white crowned?
Yep.
There are. Okay, I'm not wrong. There we
Yep.
go. That's good.
Yep. Very
Yeah,
good.
love those birds. That's awesome. Awesome shot. Really good action shot there. This is fun too.
Yeah, so back behind my house, there's some like kind of backcountry roads that go up to this ridge top, which over the summer was like my favorite place to go because you get like the second the sun comes over the horizon at dawn, you get light, and then the second the sun passes beneath the horizon during sunset, you also get light. So it's just like the perfect spot for sunrise and sunset, which I really love about it.
Mhm.
And one day when I went up there for sunset, I noticed that there was this western bluebird that just kept on landing on this exact same burnt, like kind of burnt tree that had been broken
Yeah, I
at the
got
top.
you.
And it was like maybe an hour and a half before the sun was even getting low. So I was like, should I just like wait this out? Anyway, so I did wait it out, and I just like kind of just sat there and just watched it, and it just kept on going to the same perch over and over and over again. I just watched as the sun slowly went down, down, down the horizon. And the scariest part was pointing my camera directly at the sun, since I had never done that before. And I was like so worried that I was like gonna just fry my sensor.
Yeah, I got
Anyway,
you.
I ended up, pointing the camera at the sun for the first time and testing some stuff out. And then eventually the sun, this moment right here was the second the sun hit the horizon. And yeah, it was awesome.
That's
Yeah,
awesome, especially
and
with
I
a
love-
western bluebird too. That's a really good subject.
And I love the texture on that little log or whatever you want to call it.
Little stump thing. Yeah, the light on the edge of it is really nice. And yeah, the first time shooting into the sun is really scary. I did that back this spring with a red-winged blackbird. It was my first time doing this kind of silhouette with the sun, and it was spooky because yeah, I passed up an opportunity to photograph piping plovers with the solar eclipse because I scared myself the night before reading about people's cameras getting fried, and then the next morning I woke up, I'm like, that just would not have happened to me. But that's a little story about frying sensors. I know it would have been so cool, but next time we'll get it. That would have been nuts. Yeah, maybe next time then. But I love this image. That's really cool. And then we got
It's mine.
Snow Goose. That's Alex's,
So
yeah.
little backstory behind this. I was in Spanish class. I finished all my work. So I'm on my phone looking for somewhere to go. It's like Friday. And I found that there's like some snow geese like hanging out in some like parking lot, which are kind of rare near me. So it's rush hour. We drive 40 minutes out to this like business parking lot, and we're not seeing any geese except for Canada geese. And I'm like, I just messed up. I like wasted all this time. And then I see two juvenile snow geese, like, having a little party. So I go and I get the fall foliage in the background. And they were like not skittish at all. They were making like whirring sounds, eating this grass. So I zoomed out to like 100 millimeters and got some fall colors in the background. And then you guys will see it probably is already posted by now, but I did a little video on how I edited this. So yeah, it was harsh lighting at this time, but I avoided that by shooting them in the shade. So yeah.
That works. Yeah. Every good birding. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Sorry, it's like a cool species, especially for here in Ohio, because where you find them, which is not Ohio, they're really common. And then where they're not, like there's basically just none there.
Yeah. I was just gonna say every good birding story starts out with I was in Spanish class. No, but it's really good that you got fall color in here too. I mean, that's really fun. And as you said, the shade is really important. Like that's helpful. Like I was shooting a barred nest this past spring, and the light was ridiculously harsh, but they were just completely in shade. I was actually shooting it slightly backlit, but I was able to just like edit it and make it look like it was normal. But yeah, so shooting in shade, little tip, is a solution to being in harsh light, and that really helps during warbler migration. And then this one is mine. That is so basically what I've been doing recently, I've been shooting Townsend solitaires. I've been working with them for the most part. And it's funny, it's actually really sad because this morning when I was out shooting, I got way better Townsend solitaire images. I had a really good session with Townsend. But yesterday, no, this wasn't yesterday. It was like 4 or 5 days ago. We had a really bad day of snow. And it was kind of like, Johnny, what you were saying. It wasn't clear skies and there was snow, but the next day there was no weather of rain or snow or anything. It was just supposed to be a cloudy, normal day. And I wake up and it's like a normal day. It's just cloudy, and all of a sudden it just starts snowing like crazy. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get out and go shooting. And my target I want to go after was Townsend solitaires, mainly because the other passerines around like nuthatches and chickadees aren't really cooperative. You know, they're really just buried deep in those conifers, and it's a chore. But Townsend's literally just treetop. I mean, they pick the best perches and they just sit there, and it's really easy to get clean backgrounds and stuff. So I was hiking the area looking for them, and it was snowing, and the path was really slippery. So I almost fell down like off these miniature cliffs like twice. It was really bad. But at the end of the trail, I ended up finding one of the Townsend solitaires. And it was really boring because it was against a white background. So basically what I did is I found a cedar tree and just shot through the foreground. And unfortunately, I wanted to get it against a dark background to really pronunciate that snow. But it was fun to get the gray sky behind it, and then the bouquet from the foreground and all that stuff. But it was really a blast. But as I said, I went to a different place today looking for northern pygmy owls, and I found a Townsend solitaire just right off the edge of the trail, just sitting on a completely clean, just empty branch. It was just really nice and cloudy. I was able to get a pine tree behind it, so like solid green background with green foreground. It was really fun. I'll have to get those edited today. But yeah, and also Johnny, what you're saying too, it's like these aren't like super pretty subjects, you know, they're like kind of boring, they're bland. But they're a good bird because I'm from East, you know, I'm from Massachusetts. And out there, whenever one of these pops up, everyone freaks out, right? So it's kind of good to just have really easy access to them constantly. And this is just like a 20-minute walk from my campus, from my dorm. And then I got another one. Sorry, I'm done basically. Yeah, I was just saying it was really fun, and I had a blast shooting these guys. I'm going to shoot them all throughout the winter. What were you going to say, Alex?
It's really cool. I like the foreground. I think you did it well. Anyone have any closing words?
I mean, I like that shot. I've been trying to experiment myself with the small and frame, so it's nice to see other people attempting it and the little details you can pick out and try and apply to other things.
Yeah, small and frame is so fun. I love small and frame. It's the best. Really been working on that recently.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to our two guests, John and Elliott. And
I'm gonna stop my screen sharing real quick. I'm just gonna come back so y'all can see me again. That was an awesome episode though. That was fun.
Yeah. See you guys on the next one. Cue the music.